Hello again, this is Leborowski, and as promised, we're going to play the second scenario of Gettysburg, Scourge of War, McPherson's Ridge. This time, we're playing from the Confederate side. So let's get started. Just a brief review of this scenario. This is a division of Confederates coming up on the city of Gettysburg, and they know that cavalry is screening the town, and the division commander, Harry Heth, communicates with Robert E. Lee directly, it is told, and obtains permission to assault the ridge known as McPherson's Ridge, ostensibly to go into the city and requisition shoes for his men. Here we see the ridge from Harry Heath's side, and Archer's brigade is already engaged. And there's A.P. Hill's orders, the Corps Commander's orders, that he may, with caution, assault the ridge and continue into the town upon successfully taking it. The first thing I do is we talk to General Archer, and what we suggested he do basically is hold this position, which, as you can see from a more panoramic view, is the corner of the farmyard with the woods on Archer's right and the objective on his left. And here we see in position the units of the 1st Division of the 1st Corps. 2 regiments are already in position. The second thing that one needs to do to be successful in this scenario is to take control of all of the artillery batteries and place them. And we need them to be placed in positions where they will basically enfilade the objective. By enfilade, I mean taking a position to the edge of the line that would be formed to defend the objective. Okay, here we have our subordinate Archer telling us his position and that he's really in trouble and that he needs support. He's saying, without coming out and saying it, General Heth, you've got to support me here. And so we will. And I'm moving up the artillery because if you leave the artillery on the ridge, many players have found that it just doesn't work. You don't get enough suppression. And there's Archer with his second, that's Davis. My other subordinates reporting that we have some of the best units in the Union Army, certainly a strong detachment of the Union Army, already defending the position. It's going to take a while for these artillery batteries to get into position, and then even longer for them to have a sufficient effect on the position of the enemy to really accomplish much. Now here's another thing that people have tried, and we're going to give it a run, which is we're going to take the 42nd Mississippi and we are going to advance. And what we're trying to do is to get at that cannon. We'd like to get at that cannon. Since they're firing canister at us from short range, it's problematic. Sometimes they break. I'm watching my yardage here because at some point I'm going to ask him to stop and fire. Let's try there. Well, they missed with that canister. Come on. Nope. They're not getting at it. We're going to have to bring them up. It says no targets in range. We're going to take control of Davis's 3rd Regiment and order them to form line in the middle. We're going to take control of Davis because, folks, as you might have noticed at the last playthrough, this guy is not the greatest commander that ever walked the planet. We broke. Well, they're not going to go that far. Alright, so we're going to tell them to form a line. Davis, I want you to form a line right there. Oh, I've got Pettigrew. Well, this is a variant on this scenario where I have many more troops to use, and good ones too. And here comes, this is wonderful. My chances of success are much greater now. General Pettigrew has arrived on the field with his brigade, and his brigade's pretty good. Much better, actually, than the 2 we've got. Now I'm going to order him to proceed right up the road in column. What we're doing here is we're sacrificing vulnerability for speed. Here you can see one of Archer's brigades' regiments has already run the 5th Alabama. And let's take a look at how Archer has disposed his troops. By the way, Archer's not going to make it through this scenario. He is either captured or killed every single time. We're going to let him do his thing, though, because he's a good commander, and he usually ties down these regiments while we suppress their artillery support and assault his right flank. Now, I normally leave this battery on the ridge, and I'd like to discuss some details of Civil War artillery types at this point. These 12-pound Napoleons are actually better for close range. This, however, battery has... Oh, I'm wrong. They're all 12-pound Napoleons. We're going to move them. I must have already moved the 3-inch ordnance, and so that cat's out of the bag. We're just going to have to... 3-inch ordnance is a type of artillery used widely by the Confederates that was marginally effective at counter-battery fire, whereas the 12-pound Napoleons are much, much better at anti-infantry work. I would normally order them to use the road, but I want to leave the road free for Pettigrew's units to come up. Alright, so here's the first objective. We have a 19th century medallion hovering in the air over the right flank of the ridge, and so our job is to take that. You can see here that Davis is not doing a hot job of getting his people to get rid of this regiment, which is in advance of the position. Alright, Pettigrew's moving up nicely. Now, in earlier variation, or rather earlier playthroughs of this scenario, I use shrapnel and shell rather than solid shot. But I have been informed by Garnier, who's produced a brilliant mod of this game, that the most effective form of artillery ammunition is solid shot. And Garnier doesn't think much of, he's not a big fan of artillery suppression either, at least from what I can tell. Especially for the Confederates, if you think about it, it's not that great of an idea, because usually they have at least a third fewer guns on the field. Their batteries are 3 or 4, and the batteries of the Union are 6 pieces. So let's see here. Hopefully our artillery will start making a difference. Well, my adventure with the 42nd Mississippi to try to drive this gun out of there has failed. Not only that, but this regiment's morale was compromised so badly that they're routing. However, since I have 2 additional brigades, Brockenbrough and Pettigrew, who only occasionally show up in this scenario, it doesn't matter as much. Here we see Pettigrew deploying to assault, and he is a fairly good commander. Let's take a look at him. Good, 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 very good. Daring, which is the key. His personality is such that I can order him to do an all-out attack, and he will do a good job. So we will probably see him at this point suppress that artillery for us, but I don't know for sure if he'll succeed. All right, so we've gotten the Federal regiment that was in advance to break, and now we order Davis to assault the main position with his 2 regiments. Alright, well, see, my artillery fire is having an effect because this regiment is lying down. I'm really thinking seriously about ordering some of these pieces to target artillery. The more I think about it, let's look at our order of battle. Alright, Moore has 1 10-pound Parrott. I can't make an order to an individual gun. It doesn't work. I am going to order this battery, which has 1 10-pound Parrott, which is an excellent artillery suppression weapon, and 1 3-inch ordnance, which is a mediocre suppression weapon, to target artillery and use shrapnel. And this will put air bursts above the heads of the artillery and compromise their morale. And that's all I'm going to do. Let them do their thing. Alright, Pettigrew is now deploying to assault the ridge. We are going to go pay attention to General Davis, and coming up in support of him is Brockenbrough. Where is Brockenbrough? Brockenbrough is not exactly the most aggressive fellow on the planet. Where is Brockenbrough? There he is. Let's go take a look at his progress. We're going to attach one of... that's Davis. Where's Brockenbrough? Okay, here he comes. It's going to take a while to get there because he's not using the road. Let's back up a little bit here and see what Pettigrew's doing. Pettigrew's getting himself situated. We're going to let him do his thing. Yes, yes, we finally got some good intelligence. Davis is reporting that the Iron Brigade is coming up, so we are running out of time. We need to do this thing. And there's the Iron Brigade coming up, and they are going to give General Archer a bad time and either capture or kill him. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. I've tried, and many others have tried. There's another one of Archer's regiments coming back from being routed. People have tried to keep Archer alive and uncaptured, and/or it just doesn't work. It's part of the hardwiring of this scenario. It's okay. I mean, it's not optimal, but it's the way it is. And there you can see Brockenbrough's brigade wading the creek there. And let's take a look at Davis. And Davis is pouring effective fire on the position. In fact, we now control this position, so that means that Davis should be getting victory points, and he is getting victory points for controlling the ridge based on this assault, which hasn't actually taken the victory point. Interesting, isn't it? A reprise of the same problem we had before from the other side. Yeah, this doesn't look good, but I'm going to let Archer solve his own problems. I'm just trying to get us oriented here so we get a good view of the assault. Yep, he drove off the artillery. Standard operating procedure. He drove off half the battery, and he's going to fire on the other half. And here comes the Zouaves to take him in the flank. Now, if I were Pettigrew, I would stand up my supporting regiment, and I would move them to the right, and we're going to do it for him. Arise, gentlemen. And then I want you... No, they're not... Oh. Let's see what's going on here. These guys... Are they firing? No, they're not firing. I'm swinging these guys around fast. Okay, they don't appear to be going in the right direction. Because troops in column move much, much faster, and obviously they're being screened by the other regiment from musket fire from this unit, so I can afford to do it. And that will double the amount of fire being applied to the Zouaves. I hope that's the correct pronunciation. Look at that. Archer is doing his job. Is that Archer or is that's Pettigrew? Pettigrew is sending his right regiment to enfilade the Zouaves. It's a beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, you want to form a line for me, please, guys? A line. There you go. And then I reattach them. Who's this? Brockenbrough. I'm going to take control. Yeah, he's been captured. Archer's been captured, and some guy who goes by the name of the famous American playwright Sam Shepard is taking control. Or taking command, rather, of that regiment. Alright. General Brockenbrough, I would like you to get your men way up here and form a line. And what I contemplate at this point is that by the time Brockenbrough has his troops in position, I will have taken this. And maybe not. Let's see here. Yeah, I would guess that that regiment will break. And then let's get Davis back here so he doesn't get killed, because the chances are significant that he would if he stayed there. Okay, so here we are. We've driven away half of the battery. And Pettigrew's brigade is assaulting the ridge. And Archer's holding out magnificently. And here is, I believe, his replacement. And it's pretty much a good situation. I'm not happy with some of the details. I didn't really do a very good job with the 42nd Mississippi. There's a fellow who's recorded a YouTube video named Ray Hunter who successfully drove off the artillery that was in the ditch with the 42nd. And I myself have done it many times actually, but this time I didn't succeed. By many, I mean more than 3. Okay, you can see that this forward Union regiment has taken what looks to be 40% casualties and will soon break. There's the Iron Brigade, and they've had to deploy to deal with Archer's unit. And let's see what we got going here. He's going to come in and give us some flank support. The Zouaves have broken. Now here's a point where I'm thinking seriously of taking control. One of Pettigrew's regiments is broken. I'm going to take control of this regiment and tell them to move to the flank. You can see the arrow going over, that way I'll lengthen my line and basically front this little regiment. And then this group, which is not really doing that well, I'm going to put them on this little fence line. Alright. General Davis, let's take the position. Brockenbrough, I want you to get this regiment across the divide at the run. Let's hope they make it. You never know. Gonna charge the guns. There's only one. Can't fire. They're not that great of a unit. They're not even completing the charge. Alright, we're going to have to be careful with these guys because they're tired. Let's see here, and they're not that great. This is my best regiment. They're seasoned. They should be able to take that position without any trouble. We succeeded in driving off the artillery. I'm going to place Pettigrew's regiment of irregulars, probably his weakest regiment, right on the victory point position, and I am going to ride to it to take my laurels. Well, now we're going to let the lieutenant continue his efforts here to hold back the Iron Brigade. Excuse me for the disorienting whirl. The reason I'm taking the very long view at this stage is because I'm going to reposition my artillery. The whole point, after all, of taking the ridge was to be able to position artillery on it or at least the most important rationale for taking the ridge is to get the high ground and get your artillery on it, and that's how you hold it. Of course, you need infantry, but if you have a bunch of artillery on a high ground position and it's being assaulted by infantry, the odds are good they're not going to do very well. Alright, that's 3 batteries moving. We're going to tell this particular one to use the road. And we're going to tell this one to use the road also. And Harry, you might want to gallop up to get your victory points. Alright, we're going to hold down the shift button. And let's try giving a series of orders, which I indicated before I wasn't very good at. Well, let's try it. Oh, he won't charge. Okay, we drove him off. Oh dear. It appears that Davis's entire unit routed. Okay, whatever. We control the victory position. So I'm going to go to me. And here we are, on the ridge that we were assigned to take. The Lutheran seminary is in the background. Why do I call it a cemetery? Because I suppose because of Cemetery Ridge. Another terrain feature on this battlefield. Oh, part of my guys are in the pond. Get out of the pond, guys. Excuse me. My wife just made me a wonderful chicken dinner. Alright, let's talk to Pettigrew. Yeah, this was a piece of cake, frankly. With all of these troops, normally you don't get Brockenbrough or Pettigrew. The chances of getting them are about 1 in 4. I hit the jackpot. So even though I would grade me out here at about C-, folks, to tell you the truth. I still took the position. Alright, we're going to screen the left with this particular unit in skirmish formation. And all that means is that at this period, if you were in skirmish formation, what you could do is prevent an enemy unit from moving in column toward you. They would have to deploy into line. And that's delaying. So we'll throw them out there as our flank guard. Yes, and I have 1451, which is approaching victory, major victory. Slowly. Now I'm going to show you some options on the movement section of the user interface. Now, all right, here we have this regiment. And you can see that we don't really want it here. We want it to the right and here. Now there's an actual command that allows you to do that. It's oblique. And here we go, oblique right. And there we go, right where we want them. I might take pity on Archer. He's taking pity on himself. We're going to tell what remains of Archer to retreat. In column by divisions. Column by divisions is basically they're like squarish clumps of troops in a bunch. It's midway between having your men in line and having them in column of regiments in line. These are the regimental formations. Double line, which is what it says, column, line, line with reserves, which looks exactly like the picture of it, column by divisions, which are these clumps. They're not regimental lines, they're not columns, they're in between, bunched up, and column of regiments in line, which is useful if you want to move fast and then deploy, but I rarely use it, and I don't see too many other players using it either. Let's see what Pettigrew's doing with this guy. Well, I don't know if that's a great idea. I think we're going to halt you fellows. Move right. Alright, let's get a look at what the situation is. Alright, the Iron Brigade is now basically 2 strong regiments. And we are flanking them badly. I got a lot of flank fire on them, and I need to front them, and I've ordered these guys to do so. Now we got another... Oh, there's 3. I made a mistake. I didn't see them. I'm going to do something I don't like to do much, which is get rid of the vegetation for you. You can see now all 4 regiments of the Iron Brigade are in action, and Pettigrew is defending. And I am going to give him an order. By the way, once the artillery gets in position, it's not going to be pretty. Alright, let's look around here, Pettigrew. Where are you facing? What are you doing here? Alright, General, get up here. And I want you to hold to the last. And the reason I want him to hold to the last is because the Iron Brigade's tough. And if I gave him a lesser order, who knows? The Iron Brigade might retake the position. They are that good. Alright, you can see here Confederate troops in skirmish formation. And you can see they're composed of a line of small units, pairs, squad, and then there are 2 squads in reserve. And if I ordered them to form line, these 2 squads would come up and these outliers would come in and they'd form a line. And look at that! Davis is bringing the 55th back for another go at these guys. And we don't really care about them because the victory positions are not set up. And Brockenbrough's doing a pretty nice job over here of of giving the Iron Brigade a run for its money. Good for you. And I'm going to put the trees back. Not easy, is it? You can't exactly tell what's going on. And that's the fog of war, and I try to keep it that way. But I'm not that good. It's hard for me to really be successful that way. Let's go down to Pettigrew's level and look at his view of things. And you can see here that he has a much better view. Because he's not obscured by the trees. Now guys, you might want to actually halt. There you go. Alright, let's go up to the long view of things, and we have pretty much taken care of business. As I said, we had lots of troops. And these guys have never managed to hit anybody. And they're at 308. They have a target in range. 308 yards. Those guys have done some execution, and Morin's has done a lot. And this is usually what happens. Now, you get some batteries that just do great. Now, I placed this particular battery a while back, Lewis, and Lewis is enfilading the Iron Brigade. And now, see, they got problems. They're in bad shape. Now, the folks in the woods will probably not be evicted very quickly. They're good troops, and they're in the woods, which give them a slight defensive advantage. I believe it's like 25%. And the chances of them routing are low. And that's why when I said there were 2 regiments left, I was kind of amazed. Because this, frankly, is the best unit in the Union Army in the Eastern Theater, the Iron Brigade. At least the best one I know of. There might be others. I am now climbing toward the major victory situation. Level, rather. Alright, now what is he doing here? Where is Davis going? General Davis, where are you going? Maybe, oh, I told him to go there. Ooh, my fault. I'm going to tell him to defend. Well, here we have 2 decent brigades of infantry attacking 1 brilliant brigade of infantry. These guys are charging. Nope, they were just run up there by Brockenborough. Let's see where he's got these guys headed for. It's hard to tell. Well, let's see the little marks they're going for right there. Now they're charging. Well, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. In general, you don't want to charge with 1 regiment when you can charge with 3. So I'm going to charge with 3. He committed 1. I'm going to commit basically his whole command. Now I want you to charge. That's what I want you to do. Taking control, charge. I want you to charge. Alright, fine. Form column. Run over here. And form line. I don't know why why the unit doesn't execute my commands. Maybe it is executing my commands as ordered, but... Alright, what do you think I should do with these guys? They're at 175, and they're somehow obscured, so that's insane. Let's get them to apply fire to the flank. Okay, that's a nice little double line. Well, what Pettigrew's got going here is... when this regiment tires, he'll order them to fall back and then this regiment will take over. And then while the behind regiment regains fatigue points, the other regiment will hold a position. Alright, let's take a look at our artillery now after they've had some time. This 39, 155. That's not bad. Those are victory points, obviously. Well, we were very, very lucky. Archer lost a lot of men. Archer's brigade was at full strength, I believe, and anybody who's a absolute mine of information might correct me here, but my recollection is that Archer's brigade was at full strength at Chancellorsville and fought bravely and successfully, and we see it at Gettysburg in its reduced state because there were no real replacement systems in force during this era. Alright, I'm going to speed up the clock. And I probably, let's look at the map. We haven't even looked at the map once. And here we have, who is that? That's a 4-star general. Who is that? Where's that 4-star general I just saw? Well, on high speed, it's hard to find him. Let's slow back down again. What time is it? 11:10. I think we're down to like 20 minutes. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, this is what happens when the AI runs things. You end up with this formation, which looks a little bizarre, doesn't it? And how are these guys doing? They haven't hit anybody. It says that the 24th Michigan is within 300 yards of them. All right. Archer's brigade. Where would I like you? I would like you in the woods, forming a line and defending. And try to keep the rest of your men alive, please, Lieutenant. Let's go back to the map. Okay. The orange star is an occupied objective. These are all regiments. This is a commander. You can see the artillery is these little cannon symbols, and there's their commanders. There's my ordnance supply wagon, which follows me around. And we have Brigadier General Wadsworth. I suppose what we saw was General Reynolds getting killed. Remember, we saw a 3-star rectangle, and then it was gone? That must have been when our sharpshooter potted General Reynolds. Now, part of me, well, there. Let's go to Pettigrew. So what's going on, General Pettigrew? As usual, they're facing the wrong way. I'm not going to worry about it. What are you looking at, General? You're looking to the west, the battle's to the south. I mean, I find this to be just an absolutely brilliant simulation. I mean, true, it's sprites, but look at this. I mean, it looks very realistic. These buildings actually, many of them still stand at this location, which I visited a few years ago. Certainly the seminary is precisely as it was. It's a historical monument, basically, as far as I know. Brockenbrough's going to use that nice little fence line, and these guys are running. In fact, the Iron Brigade in general is running. A huge victory. Now, the strategic implications of this victory are the following. When the rest of the corps comes up, this is Heth's A.P. Hill's corps, who was A.P. Hill was a subordinate of Jackson. He inherited Jackson's corps basically, and he's a little iffy actually. He's not bad. He's balanced, but compared to Jackson, he's iffy. Anybody compared to Jackson's iffy. Jackson was one of those lightning flashes of brilliance in the history of mankind. There was just something about him. He just was able to master all the aspects of tactical command in this era. Anyway, A.P. Hill. When A.P. Hill's corps comes up, and actually in the actual battle, they came up on all three of these roads. What will happen is we will have a good artillery position to cover the approaches to the town, and the real gold, as most of you probably know, is the high ground that starts over here and proceeds in a hook all the way down over here off the map. The famous fish hook of Gettysburg, which Lee did not take. Lee was never able to take it. He assaulted every bit of it at various points during a 3-day period. And I won a major victory, a gigantic victory, 67-79. And I thank you for joining me for this second playthrough. I'll see you later.